with some of the things we've been talking about. This is Celine from the Northeast. I found what Father Ryland was saying about Jesus and me interesting, since most of my friends think as long as they love Jesus, it doesn't matter what church door they darken on Sunday morning, or it's not important if they go at all. Is there anything I can do to help them see the importance of being a part of the one Catholic Church?
I would suggest talking about the things that they're missing, trying to help them to have some understanding of sacraments, of what Jesus himself has done to give us these things. And I would also urge them to emphasize the fact that Jesus gave us no options. When he gave us something, he intended to be used. That applies to the sacrament of penance, for example. Certainly applies to the Eucharist itself. Certainly applies to baptism. As Blessed John Henry Newman said, the fact that Jesus established a church whose basis is divine means that there's a divine obligation to belong to it. He emphasized this again and again in his letters, a vast number of letters to converts, to potential converts, that the mere fact that he created the church means he wanted us to be in it, that they all may be one. That in John 17, 4 times in 3 verses, he prays they may all be one. Remarkable, remarkable emphasis. And there be one in John 10, one flock and one shepherd. And to show them that the logic of that position is continual proliferation of denominations. And it should, and I would try to help create in their minds some uncertainty as to who is right in all of this. You have this, the next man has this, the next person has this. Okay, who's to say who's right? If we get into, see, the culture of relativism has had some corrosive effects on this also, I think.
Well, you mentioned Blessed John Henry Cardinal Newman, and there have been many folk over the last 50 years that have grabbed Newman and put onto his shoulders a misunderstanding of him as a hyper-ecumenist, and have corralled him and used him for things that he would never have dreamed of standing for. And in that, there's a book, Father Yaki's book of the letters to converts that he has, which I strongly recommend. It's called Newman to Converts. One of the most continuing phrases he wrote to men and women on the journey. And I want you to talk about this, what he meant by this.
Yes.
The most common things he said to men and women on the journey was, don't miss this moment of grace.
Yes. Because it might never come again. Yes.
Expand on that. I mean, that's a pretty bold statement Newman was saying to these Anglican friends. What did he mean? Don't miss this moment of grace, because it may never come again.
Yes. And you could be lost.
Yeah, and the necessity of that is, even as a person might be listening to this Journey Home program, you might be hearing some of the things Father Ryland said. It's the Lord touching your heart about the beauty of the Catholic Church, the significance that our rebirth means more than accepting Jesus as my Lord and Savior. And the fact that you might be open to that all of a sudden might be the moment of grace.
Right. And has to be acted on.
Has to be. That's the point. It isn't merely from my Calvinist background, that you were preordained from the beginning of time to end up in heaven or hell, which was the 5-point Calvinism, or maybe the other extreme, which is totally up to you as an individual to decide right or wrong. It's that we have the work of God's grace that empowers us to respond,
right?
But we still have the freedom to respond,
yes.
right? We have an email here.